it's working. Welcome. I'm so glad to be here tonight. I just wanted, as a point of disclosure, I'd like you to know that I take Kyani Nitro Extreme and the rest of the Kyani products, and so does the rest of our family. So I wanted to say that. And brain surgeon, 2 times PhD, broadcaster, farmer, author of over 28 books, patent holder, and my friend, Dr. Norman Schuele.
Thank you, Betsy.
And Dan Dr. Schuele is on stage first. Welcome, Dr. Schuele.
You know, and those of you who don't, I'm going to use
Oh.
No, you're not hot. I'm about to be. Okay. I thought my shirt would be adequate, but maybe not. Okay, I'm on. Can you hear me now? Yes. I can hear me. Okay. Well, I want to talk about Nitro Extreme. Basically, for those who don't know my story, I was at the Anti-Aging Congress in Las Vegas in December of 2011. Now, I go to bed at 9 o'clock, and I get up at 5 o'clock every day. But that night, I got into Las Vegas at 2 a.m., and I had to give a talk at 7 a.m. They run that meeting like surgery. And so I'm up, and I'm fine. But I was, you know, not perfect. And I was wandering through the exhibit hall, and Dan was there, and I've known Dan for a number of years, and he was helping people see what would happen to their blood pressure when they took Kyani Nitro Extreme. So I took 30 drops, and my blood pressure was a little high for me that day. It was 134 over 84. Now that's high for me. I took the Kyani Extreme, and in 5 minutes, my blood pressure was 110 over 70. That's normal for me. And I was impressed because, in my opinion, there are 3 categories of, well, 4, I don't know where to stop with categories of drugs that I consider bad. I consider drugs bad. Less than half the people, not more than 45% at the most of people taking antihypertensive drugs still have high blood pressure. And it causes all kinds of things called side effects. One of my favorite statements is, death is not a side effect. And it doesn't often cause death with an antihypertensive drug, but it causes a lot of problems, including impotentia in men. That's the most common side effect in men. And more importantly for everybody is lack of energy. I have seen scores of people who say, after I take that medication, I don't have any energy. And so, to me, anything would be it. So I said, I ordinarily charge $2,000 per patient to do all the work, to follow through, get approved by an institutional review board. But if you give me the Nitro Extreme, I will do a research project and no charge. That's how important I thought it was. And I did that, and 70% response to taking Nitro Extreme. And, by the way, half of my patients were on drugs and still had hypertension, and most of them I got weaned off their drugs as well as making their blood pressure normal. And so since that time, in events like this and out at Ziggy's and around the country and at my office, I have personally tested 200 people just for high blood pressure, and 70% is very consistent. 70% of them get excellent control of their blood pressure with no negative effects. That's the thing. So after a few months, in the fall of 2012, I finally said, I'm just going to take it because it's just too good not to. And I don't notice much, except I'm a pretty energetic person normally, but I have more energy than I can remember in a very long time. Nothing extraordinary. I don't have any jitter, nothing of that kind of thing. And I'm not a big caffeine person. I drink usually a cup of Earl Grey tea a day. That's the caffeine in my life. And so I started taking all the products, and I can say, not quite as good as Dan, but the age spots have about 75 or 80% vanished. That was just a side effect, a good side effect. So Nitro Extreme, in my opinion, is the best nitric oxide enhancer I know. Now, I often say, if you were to eat a quart or so a day or more of beets, you might be able to do it without Kyani Nitro Extreme. I don't know anything else that will give you enough ability to make your own nitric oxide. And we'll talk in a moment about what nitric oxide can actually do. Sunrise is a wonderful way to get all your vitamins and minerals that you need. You don't need to take a multivitamin mineral if you're taking it, and it tastes good. And you're only taking 2 tablespoons a day. So in that respect, considering the taste buds as well as what you're getting out of it, it's better than a multivitamin mineral. And of course, Sunset is the perfect amount of tocotrienol. Some people call tocotrienols. I don't know how to call it trienol. And that is 60 to 80 times as powerful as tocopherols. Tocopherols are the vitamin E that we've been told for the last 50 years or so we're good. Tocotrienols are far better, and these 3 little tiny capsules contain the exact amount that is optimal, which is only 100 milligrams of the 2 major tocotrienols. Plus, it's got some omega-3s in with it. So I started taking all of it because basically, to me, it just feels good. So nitric oxide. Every cell in your body cannot survive without nitric oxide. Every cell. It's as essential to life as breathing. Unfortunately, for many people at any age in life, but most people after age 40 lose the usual way of making nitric oxide, which is out of an amino acid called L-arginine. And 20 years ago, I began recommending L-arginine to control blood pressure, timed release L-arginine. But it doesn't work well after age 50 for sure. And in fact, although you're eating, if you eat a wide variety of real protein, which is not soya or, vegetables, I'm not against vegetables, I think they're wonderful. But I think a vegan diet is a serious neurotic fetish, and it's unhealthy. It's just unhealthy. I've never seen a long-term, 15-year or more vegan who was truly healthy. And they still got to, if they don't want to get really sick, they've got to take vitamin B12 somehow, and that comes from animals. Yeast are just as animal as you and I are. They are not vegetables. So, at any rate, we need, after age 45 to 50, we need the L-arginine to keep our muscles from wasting. A shunt, essentially, into the muscles takes your L-arginine there, so you don't make any nitric oxide out of it. Phenomenal, because it dilates blood vessels. And taking it over a period of time, maybe 12 to 24 months, it can actually clean out plaque or hardening of the arteries. That's not bad. Lowering blood pressure, it does work in 70% of people. Nothing works in 100%. I always say, we can't even decide whether you're dead or alive without going to the Supreme Court. You remember that case. At any rate, it's good for your immune system, so it helps you overcome infections. It helps you overcome GERD. You don't need a little purple pill. And it is the alternative to Viagra, or Viagra, whatever that is. And it's natural. And it doesn't carry the risk that Viagra carries. Most of the people who need Viagra are men on antihypertensive drugs, and you can't or shouldn't take it when you're on those drugs because it can lower your blood pressure too much. But this will not. And endurance, just strength to get through every day and live a healthy life. This is how important nitric oxide is. It is, as I said, probably as critical as oxygen itself. Now, it also is good for mental alertness. Dan is a perfect example this week, if I may. He has been on a trip for the last 2+ weeks and getting very little sleep, but it helps. Excellent for immune function. It's also anti-inflammatory. What is the common denominator in every single known disease? Inflammation. Even in cancer, there's always an inflammatory component to it. And chronic inflammation, in fact, is one of the things that could trigger a weak immune system and even the development of cancer. So it's critically important. Improved memory, well, anything that makes you alert and gives you energy is likely to improve memory, and it does. Pain relief in arthritis, because all arthritis is inflammatory. And it improves the function of the pancreas. It's another major organ that thrives on nitric oxide. It's an essential for life, energy, health in every conceivable way. It's critical in every cell. It's essential for cell metabolism and, of course, the energy of the cell. And it, as I said, it tends to decrease after age 40, and that leads to these major diseases, which are the common ones in maturity. Sunrise, the single best way to get your essential vitamins and minerals. You don't need to take a multivitamin then. And I like the fact, because it gives you a much broader overview. You don't get a lot of antioxidants out of multivitamins. You know, it might have a little C or a little that, but they don't have the anthocyanins and the polyphenols and the others that you get in natural fruits. And so Sunrise is excellent, and it tastes good. And then Sunset, again, is the strongest, 60 to 80 times as powerful as common vitamin E, which is the tocopherol. Every cell in our body not only needs nitric oxide, it also needs fat, a certain kind of fat, part of the omega-3 family of essential fats for life. In fact, when you don't have enough omega-3 to rebuild your cells, remember, every cell in your body dies within a maximum of 7 years. Some a lot sooner than that. And we lose our ability gradually as we go through life to replenish those cells because we don't have adequate functions of omega-3s. And when they are destroyed, they increase the free radicals. And your free radicals are the things that are involved in every known disease: wrinkling, aging, death. So we have here the building blocks for the most important nutritional aspect of living: the nitric oxide, the essential multivitamin minerals, the vitamin E as tocotrienols, and some omega-3s to help you rebuild the cells as they pass through their life cycle. 40% of all Americans, 40%, and that's actually now going down into the mid-teens on. So that's, conservatively 100 million or more people in this country. Less than 50% of the time is it controlled, and the drugs have tremendous complications, the big ones being erectile dysfunction and fatigue, but other than that, Mrs. Lincoln, they're not so bad. Personally, I don't know what I would do, but there's no way that I would take an antihypertensive drug. I don't mind dying, but I don't like to be poisoned. So, it controls Kyonenitro Extreme, controls blood pressure in 70%. It's safe. Numerous other benefits. I mean, I don't know what else one could want as a basic health enhancer. Every adult, in my opinion, should take the Kyone Triad. Not only if you have hypertension. If you don't have hypertension, you only need 15 drops twice a day. That's adequate. If you've got hypertension, you may need to take 30 drops twice a day. And in fact, I think I have my first subject who had 45 drops twice a day today because it wasn't controlling his blood pressure there. But he's a bit heavier than your average person, and that makes a difference. And to me, even if you don't want to go out and sell it to the public, which I think is well worthwhile, and Dan will concentrate on that aspect of it, even if you just want to take it for yourself or your family, for $40, you can become a distributor and get it at wholesale prices or rates for the rest of your life. That in itself makes it a wonderful investment. Now, not everybody is going to go out and proselytize other people. It's also a phenomenal fundraiser for what everyone wants. For me, it's a fundraiser for research. I have this fetish, which I think is a lot healthier than veganism, of doing research. I began doing research in the first summer after my first year in medical school, 1953, this summer. I began 3 months every summer while I was in medical school doing research, and I've never stopped. I do not do projects which are known to carry a risk. I choose, so I have not personally done any human drug studies, ever, because I don't know a drug that I consider safe enough that I'm willing to do it. But I've looked at natural approaches. And so those of you local probably know that in January of this year, I gave almost everything I own to Missouri State University to support research both in nutrition, animal husbandry, raising beefalo, which I consider the best of all natural meats, and research in the field of psychology, which is another of my major interests. Now, I don't need anything else on which to live. But when Dan and I met, and he came down here the first time, he said, well, what would it take for you to want to get into this business? And I said, oh, $10 million so I could endow more research. And he said, well, I can't do that, but I can help you get to a stage where you can have an income equal to having $10 million, and that will be dedicated to continuing research when I reach that goal. And that's how important it is to me. And I encourage those of you who are not happy with your current financial situation to consider getting gung-ho and becoming a distributor. And I could help you, but I can't help you as well as Dan can. Dan is an expert in the field of multi-level marketing. By the way, this is the only multi-level marketing company I've ever been willing to get involved with, because I think it's not only pays well, it's got superb products and integrity. And that's why I have chosen this particular one, because my interest is in helping people be healthy. I really think health is infinitely more important than disease. And so with that, Vincent, are you here? Vincent, are you going to introduce Dan?
Thank you, Dr. Shearer. That was fun. SwinDell is here. He's flown in from the left coast. Video with us. And he's talked about multi-level marketing, and here's what Dr. Shearer does about it. The same price as everybody else does. And I said there were some usual purchases on it. And I said, like what? And I said, well, kind of, a couple $100. And I said, well, if we look back, you'll see over the last few months, same purchases over the last few months. And I named a couple others. And I said, well, if we look back at the same purchases. And I said, well, it's just $3.05 charge to Skype. And I said, yeah. I said, well, that did it. That's the one that caused your credit card to shut down. What I'm saying is I purchased Kyone for our family. And I heard a story tonight at dinner with Dr. Shuey and Dan SwinDell about cats, about an aged cat that Coyote FX helped. I'm pretty excited about that because we have a cat that needs some help, and she's been with us for a very long time. So when I get home, we'll see how well that works. Dan SwinDell is going to help us learn about the process of the business side of Coyote, and he's going to tell us some stories, people that he's met, stories that indicate the success of the product. We're so glad you're here, Dan, and it was delightful being on the radio with you again today. It really was. Welcome, Dan. Dan SwinDell.
Okay, is my mic on now? There we go. All right. Let me put another set of slides up here. I had that LASIK surgery done, and now I can see a gnat at 100 yards, but I can't read him right in front of my face. Okay. What I'd like to do is give you a little history. I'm an individual that when somebody says, just do it, it's like, that doesn't work. Not for me. I want to understand why should I do it? And give you a little bit of history. So what I'd like to do is, very quickly, just give you a little tiny bit of history, not a lot, but a little. Coyote was born not out of a couple of people getting together and saying, hey, let's come up with an idea to make money. Who in here wants to do a little fun thing with me? Who can I pick on? What's your name again? You did it? Madeline, okay. Madeline, let's start a company, okay? You got any weeds in your backyard?
I do.
Got some weeds? Okay. You got a lawnmower? Okay. You got a couple of dollars, we can go get a capsulating machine, just, $1,000 you borrow it from your friend or something. All right. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to use your lawnmower, eat up your weeds, and use your encapsulating machine, and we're going to create wild herbs of the West. What do you think? We're going to get rich.
Sounds good.
Well, the truth of the matter is that's how a lot of companies get started. It's just some people get together and decide they want to start a company. That's not how this company started. This company started because of the Klunkets. Now, the Klunkets are not Eskimos. Don't call them Eskimos. They don't like that. It's be like calling an Apache an Arapaho. Cause a fist fight, right? Well, these guys live in southeast Alaska, and what's really exciting about them is that they have no words in their language for heart disease, cancer, diabetes, the cause of 2 deaths